Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Tuesday, December the 14th. We do have a small Tuesday slate. We just got a little three-gamer today. But as always, guys, we're going to go through each game. We're going to go game by game, talk through each game on the slate and break down each team. Kind of give my early thoughts, what does stand out to me looking at the slate on Monday night at first look. And then as we do go through each game, we'll build out kind of an early core. Five guys I specifically like for DraftKings and for Yahoo. Looking at the slate, the night before. But before we get started with the breakdown, please, as always, hit the like button down below. I do always appreciate the likes, guys. And if you are new to the channel here, make sure you click that subscribe button as well. Also, if you have not yet, check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. Go sign up for PrizePicks. Use code NOAH when you do sign up for PrizePicks, and they will match your first deposit. They will give you a free bet up to $100. You can take a look at what PrizePicks has to offer. They're more of a player prop based DFS site, so it's a little bit different than DraftKings and FanDuel and Yahoo. You're not building out a lineup. You're not playing against other players. It's you versus PrizePicks projections. So as you can see, they have projections for a lot of players. Obviously, this is NFL that you're looking at. They'll have NBA stuff posted, though, probably early Tuesday morning. You can take a look at their NBA board. They have point projection, rebounds, assists, three-pointers made. They also do have fantasy point projection as well. And again, you just pick the over or the under if you have a strong lean one way or the other. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 5 picks, and you can win up to 10 extra money on PrizePicks. So if you guys want to sign up, you want to check them out, use code NOAH when you do sign up, and again, they'll match your first deposit up to $100. And PrizePicks is running a promo for Christmas time. They're doing like a 12 days leading up to Christmas. They're doing like a new promo each day. They did have a promo today on Monday when I'm making this video. It was a deposit bonus. So like if you deposited, I think it was like $100, you got like 50 free dollars. If you deposited $500, you got like $200 in free money. That was their promo for Monday. Obviously, they'll have a different promo that they'll be running Tuesday. So definitely check out PrizePicks, see what these kind of new promos they're running each day. I've been taking advantage of them. I did make a $500 deposit on Monday so I could get that $200 bonus. It's already in my account already. So yeah, definitely check out PrizePicks, guys. Use code NOAH when you do sign up. And again, they'll match your first deposit. They will give you a free bet up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. But let's take a look at Tuesday's little 3-game slate. We're going to start off with the Toronto and Brooklyn game. So looking at the Raptors are on a back-to-back today. So, as always, when it comes to NBA and teams on back-to-backs, you got to pay attention to the injury report. I'd assume that everyone's going to play here, but, it wouldn't be surprising if guys get randomly rested. It happens a lot. But if, we're assuming everyone plays, VanVleet, Siakam, Scotty Barnes, I think all these guys are very solid options on this short 3-game slate. We know if this game is close, VanVleet, going to play probably 38 to 40 minutes. He only played 26 minutes against Sacramento on Monday night, but that game was a huge blowout. He didn't play at all in the fourth quarter, so we really don't want to look too much into that. And I think, VanVleet on this slate is a fine option. I think Siakam at 8,300 is a guy we can look to as well. Again, he's going to play a ton of minutes if it's a close game. Kind of like the matchup for him against this Brooklyn team. Brooklyn's a team that defensively against big men, they've never really been great defensively. We've seen a lot of centers have big games against Brooklyn this year and just in previous seasons as well. LaMarcus Aldridge, at this point in his career, is not really like an elite defender or anything. So I think Siakam at 8,300 is a solid option as well. Scotty Barnes, though, I think might be my favorite of the three. He's 7,400 on DraftKings, a little bit cheaper. Definitely like Scotty Barnes on DK. He's point guard and small forward. I would probably just play him in the small forward spot just because that's usually a tougher position to fill. And then on Yahoo, you got Scotty Barnes coming in at power forward over there, $29. I think he looks like a really solid play on Yahoo as well. Very similar to VanVleet and Siakam. We know that Scotty Barnes is going to play a ton of minutes. If it's a close game, he's going to get close to 40 minutes. Again, he only played 32 minutes on Monday, but that was a blowout. He didn't play a ton in the fourth quarter. Obviously would have played way more had the game been close. Scotty Barnes this year, he's been a really productive player when he's been on the floor. He's been a fantasy point per minute player, and he's going to play probably 38 to 40 minutes. He's 7,400. I think he's definitely in play for me on the slate. Scotty Barnes, one of these guys that can do a little bit of everything, can score, can get rebounds, can get a few assists, can get defensive stats. He just kind of stuffs the stat sheet, and at 7,400, I think Scotty Barnes is a very solid play on the slate. I think, Gary Trent is a fine option too. He's going to play huge minutes, 36 to 40 minutes if the game's closed. I think his price is probably where it should be, 5,900. But yeah, I definitely think Gary Trent's someone we can look to. And then Chris Boucher, I do still like a lot for value. Chris Boucher, 4,800 on DraftKings, still relatively cheap, and he's still pretty cheap on Yahoo as well, $14 at the power forward position. We talked about Boucher as being a solid value on Monday's slate. He did start in place of OG, and he's going to continue to start while OG remains out, or while Precious Achiuwa remains out, I should say. But Boucher, he played pretty well in the starting lineup. Again, 22 minutes. He also probably would have played more had the game been close, but he was pretty productive in that time, had 26 DK points. Boucher's always been a really productive player when he does get minutes. He's been a fantasy point per minute player, and as long as he's still in the starting lineup, which I assume he will be once again, we should probably expect low to mid 20s minutes at least. And, maybe if he's playing well, we see Boucher get like 26, 28 minutes. He's a point per minute player, very productive when he's on the floor. Even though the price came up a little bit to 4,800, I still think Boucher is probably a little bit too cheap today, assuming he's still in the starting lineup. I think he's one of the better values at first look on the slate. And really all the starters for Toronto are in play for me. Van Vliet, Siakam, Barnes, Trent, Boucher, like all 5 of those guys are in play. Now the bench guys, I probably don't think I'm going to go to. Even on a short slate like this, I just don't really think I'm going to go to Watanabe or Svi Mikhailuk. It's really just the starters for me from Toronto. Now on the Brooklyn side, we know with Brooklyn, KD and Harden are the 2 guys you really want to look to here. Now, at their price points, 11.6 for KD, 11.2 for Harden, I don't think either one stand out as great options on the slate. Obviously, KD's coming off a massive game against Detroit on Sunday when Harden was out. We should not expect him to put up, that kind of type of performance here. Obviously, with Harden back, KD's going to lose usage. He's not going to have the ball in his hands as much. That doesn't mean that KD can't have another good game. I just don't think he's going to be someone that I jam in my lineups at 11,600. You have Curry on the slate. You have, Chris Paul. You got Damian Lillard playing without CJ McCollum. Like, I think there's other guys I'd be paying up for. I think I'd play Curry over the Brooklyn guys. So don't love KD on this slate at his price point. Obviously, he's in play. It's a 3-game slate, but I don't think either one of KD or Harden are priority spend-ups for me. Now, if by some chance we get a lot of value that opens up on the slate, then yeah, I'll definitely be paying up for these guys just because it would be easy to fit them in at that point, and they're really like the only studs to pay up for. But with not a ton of value, I don't think I'm going to be forcing in KD or Harden today unless we get value open up. I still think they're in play. Just neither one at their price points are like priority options for me. And then the rest of the Nets, like I just don't really like many of these guys at their price tags either. LaMarcus Aldridge is all the way up to 6,400. I don't think I'm going to be paying this price tag for Aldridge. I really question his upside at this price tag. Like he needs to put up close to 40 Draftkings points to be worth 6,400, and he just hasn't shown that kind of upside this year. So I don't really like Aldridge that much. Patty Mills at 5,400, really score-independent player. He benefited last game without Harden. I think, for this game, we should expect Patty Mills to go back to putting up 20, 25 DK points, which really isn't good enough at 5,400. And then the bench guys like Bruce Brown, Cam Thomas, like I'm just not going to go to these guys even on a 3-game slate. It's really just KD and Harden, and even KD and Harden on this slate I don't think are priority plays for me, at least not on DraftKings. Now on Yahoo, it's a little bit different there. Those guys are a little bit more affordable. Harden's $48, KD's $50, $52. You could definitely play them on Yahoo, but still don't think they are like priority plays for me. Brooklyn in general, I don't love on this slate, to just be honest with you. But moving on to the next game, we got the Warriors and the Knicks. So the Warriors are another team on a back-to-back today, so we're going to have to watch the injury report for the Warriors. I'd assume everyone's going to play here, but we know, at times we've seen Draymond rest. We've seen, some other guys rest. Again, I expect everyone to play, but keep an eye on the injury report. Steph Curry at 11,500. I don't love Curry at this price point, but I think out of all the pay-up options between between all the top-tier studs, so Curry, KD, Harden, I think Curry's my favorite. Getting a matchup in the Garden, I expect this is a game that Curry will get up for. He obviously is very close to breaking the 3-point record, or the 3-pointers made by Ray Allen. He needs 2 more threes. We expect him to get 2 threes in tonight's game, so this is going to be a huge game for Curry. He needs 2 threes to break Ray Allen's record. He's pretty likely to get 2 threes. I expect him to play well. I expect him to be chucking as usual. Curry's never a guy that's going to project insanely well at this price tag. Again, he only had 45 DK points against Indiana on Monday. That's not great at his price tag, but we know Curry can go out there and break a slate any night. He can put up 60, 70 DraftKings points. I think Curry would be my favorite of the 3 pay-ups, like between between KD, Harden, and Curry. But like when you factor in the savings you get dropping down to Dame, I'd rather play Dame. Obviously, you can tell by the thumbnail. Dame's the thumbnail for today. Really like Dame at his price tag. You have Julius Randle on the other side of this game, who I think is a solid pay-up option. You got some mid-tier options. The Toronto guys. You got Chris Paul. I don't think I'm going to be prioritizing any of the top-tier studs today, but I think Curry against the Knicks in the Garden is a fine pay-up option. I think he'll be a little bit more contrarian, but is someone you could look to. Draymond is 6,900. Don't love Draymond on this slate. He just hasn't been that great lately. We haven't really seen a ton of upside from Draymond. His best game, he's got two good games out of his last 10. 48 DK points against Portland, 51 DK points against Phoenix. Other than that, Draymond's been like less than 35 Draftkings points now. Can Draymond go out there and have a big game tonight? It's absolutely possible. He always has triple-double upside, but still don't think Draymond's like a priority play. I really never play Wiggins or Poole, when the team's fully healthy. So I think it's just Curry. Draymond's fine too, and that's probably it from Golden State. Now on the Knicks side, the Knicks are kind of a team I like a little bit today. Julius Randle at 9,200, I think is a pretty decent pay-up option. I think, given the savings you get dropping down from Curry, KD, Harden to a guy like Randle, that's probably the way that I'd be going, especially since we don't have a ton of standout value right now. It might be pretty hard to pay up for those 11K and above guys. We can get Julius Randle, who has, just as much upside and is going to play a ton of minutes. Now, the matchup against Golden State's not ideal. Golden State been really good defensively this year. They do play at a really fast pace, but defensively they're a really tough team to put up points against. I still think Julius Randle, just with how much opportunity he gets, how many minutes he plays every night, at 9,200 he is firmly in play on a 3-game slate. Alec Burks is 6,300, expected to make his return for Tuesday's game. He was out for their last game for personal reasons, but he's going to be back for this one. I'd expect Burks to be back in the starting lineup and playing pretty big minutes here, especially with RJ Barrett out. Burks is 6,300, feels priced about right for what we can project him for, but I think he's definitely playable. And then we're going to have to wait and see who winds up starting for RJ Barrett. So my best guess, I really don't know what they're going to do with the starting lineup. I think they might start Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes did start on Sunday whenever Barrett and Burks were both out, and Quentin Grimes actually played really well. He played a ton of minutes, 40 minutes and 42 DK points. I don't know if we can expect those type of minutes again or 42 DK points, but if they do wind up starting Quentin Grimes, I think at 3,800 he's going to be a decent value play if he does wind up starting in place of Barrett. Definitely keep an eye on this, and obviously Quentin Grimes is a younger guy, so if he does or if this game does blow out, I didn't think that Quentin Grimes would be out there even in a blowout, so he does feel pretty safe if he winds up starting, and he's cheap. So I think at 3,800 he would probably be one of my favorite plays from the Knicks. I think Derrick Rose at 5K is a fine option. He did start last game, but he'll probably be back to the bench today with Alec Burks back. I think we still can expect Rose to play mid to high 20s minutes at 5K. He's a playable option, but not like a priority option for me. Same with Quickly. Same with Fournier. Fournier is a guy that I just never play. That's probably it from the Knicks. I don't see too much else here I really like. So we can move on to the last game of the night, talk about Phoenix and Portland. So Phoenix, one of our third teams today. So we have 3 teams on a back-to-back, Toronto, Golden State, and Phoenix. Phoenix on a back-to-back. Going to have to watch the injury report for Phoenix as well. We actually did get DeAndre Ayton out on Monday, so we're going to have to watch the status of DeAndre Ayton. This is definitely big news. He did not play Monday. It's a back-to-back. I think Ayton plays today, but we'll have to watch that. Obviously, if Ayton gets ruled out again, we could look to a guy like JaVale McGee, who's really cheap, 4,200, going to be really productive when he's on the court. Pretty sure he's having a pretty good game right now on Monday night as I'm making this video. So obviously, JaVale McGee would be a really good value if Ayton's out again. Chris Paul, 8,400, I think is still a pretty solid option, especially while Devin Booker remains out. Now, Chris Paul has not been great lately with Booker out. We haven't really seen a ton of ceiling games from him, but we know the upside is definitely there for CP3. It's a good matchup against Portland. Portland's a bad defensive team. They've been playing at somewhat of a fast pace this year. They're about middle of the pack in pace, but in general, I think this is a pretty good spot for Chris Paul. I think this should be a relatively fast-paced game. Phoenix has been playing at a top 5 pace this season, so I definitely like Chris Paul at 8,400. Probably more of a contrarian option, but I think he's for sure in play. Mikal Bridges at 5,700, probably not going to pay that price tag for him. Cam Johnson, Cam Payne, I don't really like those guys either. Obviously, JaVale McGee, if Ayton's out, would be a really good value. If Ayton winds up playing, I think at 7,500, he could be someone to look to as a center option. On a 3-game slate, we're not going to have a ton of options at each position to begin with. So at 7,500, Ayton would definitely be viable if he winds up playing today. But this is big news with Ayton's status. If he gets ruled out again, JaVale McGee, 4,200 is going to be probably one of the best value plays overall today. But I think that's it for Phoenix. Now, talking about Portland, this is probably my favorite team to target on this slate. I think this is a team that, for the most part, the pricing here is definitely a little bit off. I think there are some underpriced guys for Portland. And we'll start off with Damian Lillard, 9,700 on Draftkings. I really like Lillard on this slate. I think he's my favorite pay-up option overall. And on Yahoo, he's just way too cheap over there. $35 for Damian Lillard. Like, he's literally the same price tag as Chris Paul. If Damian Lillard was the same price tag as Chris Paul on Draftkings, I mean, he'd be like 90% owned. I think Lillard's going to be really popular on Yahoo, but $35, he does stand out as a really strong play on Yahoo. He did make his return from injury last game. Did play 37 minutes though, so there really was no minutes limit for Dame. Was full go. 47 DK points, was pretty productive. He didn't really even shoot the ball that well. 29% from the field, 21% from three, but the opportunity is going to be there for Dame right now. He's just going to get so much usage, so much shot attempts. He's going to have the ball in his hands a ton while CJ McCollum is out for Portland. Dame's going to be a just usage monster. He's going to take a ton of shots, get a ton of opportunity. Even in a tougher matchup against a good Phoenix team, I think Dame at 9,700 is for sure one of my favorite pay-up options today. I think he's one of the best plays on the slate in general. I think Jusuf Nurkic at 7,300 is someone we can look to as well as a center play now. Last slate, he only played 21 minutes against Minnesota, but he did get 5 fouls. He was in foul trouble that game. I think if Ayton winds up playing, that's probably better for Nurkic because they're going to want Nurkic out there defending Ayton if Ayton's out there. If JaVale McGee winds up playing, we know JaVale McGee is not a guy that's going to play like massive minutes. So I think, maybe Nurkic's minutes would be a little bit cut if McGee, winds up starting, just because I could see this game going small, closing small, which definitely would not be great for Nurkic. But if he does wind up playing like 26, 30 minutes, Nurkic is a really good point per minute player. He's shown a lot of upside when he gets minutes. He's probably more of a contrarian play, but I think Nurkic is definitely viable. Dennis Smith Jr. I'm off of now that Dame's back. He only played 4 minutes last game. He was basically out of the rotation. Yeah, no interest in Dennis Smith Jr. Norman Powell at 6K, I think is still viable. He's still going to play a lot of minutes. Should have some opportunity to get more shots up without CJ McCollum. But now that Dame is back, that does take away from a guy like Norman Powell. And he's 6K as well. Like, the price tag's come up a lot on him. So he's still playable, just not like a priority option. I think Anthony Simons, even at 5,600, looks pretty appealing. I like him quite a bit on DK, and I think he's a really good play on Yahoo. He's really cheap over there, only $12. Simons, while CJ McCollum is out, is going to get a lot of minutes. Now, he did not start last game. He came off the bench. I was kind of surprised by that. I thought they were going to start Simons alongside Lillard. But regardless, he played 33 minutes. And I think, even if he comes off the bench again, we can expect Anthony Simons to play at least 30, 35 minutes. The minutes are going to be there while CJ's out. We know Anthony Simons is a productive player when he's on the floor. He's going to take shots. He's going to have the ball in his hands a decent amount, especially when he's not having to play alongside Dame. Like whenever Dame's resting on the bench, Simons will be really productive in those minutes. At 5,600, if we can expect Simons to play 32, 33 minutes again, I think he's a pretty good option even at 5,600. I definitely like him on the slate. Nasir Little did start last game. He only played 20 minutes. He has shown some upside this year when he's gotten minutes. I don't know why he only played 20 minutes. I think that was just, I don't know. I guess they just chose to play Simons more. I think Little's minutes are a little risky just because they can play Simons, more off the bench. I think Simons is pretty likely to be in the closing lineup. But Nasir Little, if he does play like 25, close to 30 minutes, at 4,400, he's a decent value play. Still don't think he stands out as a top value, but he's playable. Larry Nance, though, is the guy that I do like a lot for value. So Larry Nance wound up starting last game in place of Covington. They moved Covington back to the bench, and I'm assuming they're going to stick with that. I'm assuming that Nance is going to start again. So if Larry Nance does start again, 4,300 on DraftKings, he looks like a pretty good value, and he's minimum salary on Yahoo, so I think you could definitely play him over there as well. We did see Larry Nance play pretty good minutes in the starting lineup, played 26 minutes, and was pretty productive, had 29 DraftKings points. Larry Nance has always been a player that when he does get minutes, he can be productive. He does a little bit of everything. He'll score, he'll get rebounds, he'll get assists, he'll get some defensive stats as well. He's kind of like a mini Draymond. He'll just do a little bit of everything. He's only 4,300. I'd assume if he's starting again, he's probably going to play at least mid to high 20s minutes. He's still cheap at 4,300. I think Larry Nance is definitely another guy we can look to as a value option. And that's probably it from Portland. I don't think I'd be going to Robert Covington. He had a really good game off the bench last game. He did play 34 minutes, but man, he had 4 blocks and 5 steals, which is just, God, that's just, you talk about luck stats. Those are things you just can't predict. You can't predict a guy to get 9 total steals and blocks. So probably wouldn't be going to Covington, especially now that he's coming off the bench. I definitely don't want to be chasing last game. I think that's it, though. I think that's it for Portland, guys, and I think that's it for this little Tuesday 3-game slate. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, please do hit the like button down below. As always, guys, I appreciate the likes. Hit the subscribe button as well. And again, if you have not yet, check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. Go sign up for PrizePicks. Use code NOAH when you do sign up, and they will match your first deposit, give you a free bet up to $100. We talked about those promos that they're running right now. Up until Christmas, they're going to be doing a new promo each day. I don't know yet what it's going to be. On Monday, it was a deposit bonus. So if you deposited, you got like some bonus funds in your account. We'll have to see what they do for Tuesday. I'll be paying attention because I'm definitely going to take advantage of these promos. If you guys want to take advantage of these, up until Christmas, sign up for PrizePicks, use code Noah, and they will match your first deposit. They will give you a free bet up to $100. But that's it for tonight's slate, guys. Best of luck on this 3-gamer, and we will see you in the next one.